Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Lou and I like to talk about superpowers. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the ability of energy manipulation. And this has got to be one of the best powers that I've ever researched and probably one of the most broken. Whether you're building energy shields, firing off concussive blasts, absorbing energy, converting energy, or even just doing mundane things like increasing your physical capabilities. Energy manipulation is one of those abilities I feel is the sky's the limit when it comes to how to use it and what you can do with it. In this video, we'll be going over the good, the bad, and the interesting. I'll also provide you with my overall score for this power and give you my best and worst user. Now, with that all said, let's stop kicking the tires and dive right in. So with energy manipulation, it allows its user to freely create, shape, project, absorb, and manipulate energy, as well as control any and all forms of energy and convert them in any shape or form. Some of the most common forms of energy include chemical, mechanical, sound wave, nuclear, you got radiant, you have gravitational. It's a bunch of them. There's a lot of different forms of energy that you can manipulate. I'll leave a list in the description box. Just check it out. On top of that, the users also have the ability to manipulate potential energy, which is the potential motion of an object, and kinetic energy, which is the motion of an object. Essentially, they control one of the most fundamental aspects of the universe, basically making you a god. The only stipulation or the only limit you really have is your vitality and your creativity. When it comes to energy manipulation, literally the sky's the limit. There is so much you can do with this power. Some of the applications that we got to get into is the fact that you can build energy constructs. Now, when we talk about energy constructs, you can think of characters like Green Lantern, where they can like make starships, weapons, they can make clothing, they can make things like that. Like they have so much, like depending on your imagination, of course. Another thing we got to talk about is the fact you gain energy perception and able to see the world via the energies that bind the universe. Think of a character like Satoru Gojo with his 6 eyes, where he can see the energies around him in the world and how they interact and how to manipulate them. One of my favorite aspects is conversion. With energy conversion, you can turn one form of energy to another. Think of it like the character of Dazzler, who basically takes sound and converts it to light. Or Bishop, who used the kinetic energy from a fall to convert it to light, and I believe sound to basically cushion his fall. Now you can do so much more with this, but those are just some of the more notable examples. Speaking of Bishop, you also have the ability to absorb energy. This could be in the form of like kinetic blast or kinetic attacks, punches, kicks. This could be bullets. This could be concussive blasts, like from enemies or allies. Basically, any kind of attack that has movement or has some kind of like forward motion, you can pretty much absorb it. One of my favorite aspects, and I think that a lot of people are going to sleep on, is that you have an energized body. With an energized body, you're basically increasing your stats with the energy you absorb or take in. The best character when it comes to this type of ability is Sebastian Shaw. If you've seen X-Men First Class, you know that he's really done some crazy stuff. Like I still like get geeked out when I see the scene where he basically absorbed Havoc's like energy beam and redirected it, and like it was, look, if you haven't seen First Class, go check it out. It's really good. It's probably the best X-Men movie, let's be fair. Anyway, moving on. Also with energy manipulation, you also gain basically secondary abilities. Because you have the ability to affect energy, you can also use that energy to affect matter, giving you ergokinesis or ergotell. Because you have complete mastery or complete control over energy, you can also affect other aspects of the universe, including matter, giving you a form of like energy telekinesis, allowing you to move and manipulate objects however you see fit. The best example of this is the characters are like Frieza, Goku, Cell. If you remember from like the Cell saga or even the Frieza saga, Frieza moving that giant mountain, or Goku using it with the water, there's a whole bunch of, we're gonna have the clips obviously, but one of the coolest aspects. Last thing I wanna talk about when it comes to energy manipulation is the fact that we talked about teleportation already on this channel. We talked about gravity powers. We talked about telepathy. All those abilities that we talked about before, you gain this with energy manipulation. Through energy manipulation, you essentially gain all those other powers except for like a couple that that I've had on this channel so far, but you've gained pretty much every other power that I've mentioned. You can use your energy to teleport. You can use your energy to move objects, to read minds, to affect gravity. Like, there is so much that energy can allow you to do. It's absolutely insane. Now, energy is not without its faults, and we have to talk about some of the limitations because the limitations are very, very notable. So when it comes to energy manipulation, you need great control, restraint, and discipline. Otherwise, you can lead to a huge catastrophe or some type of accident. You got to understand that energy is everywhere. And if you don't utilize it right, or if you don't have the right control, you can pretty much destroy an entire city, maybe the world itself, just depending on what level of energy manipulation you have. Next up, we got to talk about distance, mass, precision. All that stuff takes study. You have to put your nose to the grindstone and actually get better at this power. You can't just wake up and immediately be great at it. To be the best, you have to study, you have to train it. I know I always say that with a lot of my powers, but it's so important here because, like I said before, it's very dangerous. And to do like the crazier aspects, or like the conversion or the perception or anything like that, you need to have the mind for it. You have to have the skill for it. Just food for thought. The next limitation I want to get into is the fact that anyone with anti-energy manipulation or anti-energy can pretty much cancel you out. They can destroy the energy that you manipulate. Think of it like cancer cells basically affecting the body. Anybody with the anti-energy is pretty much just eating away at the energy that you can produce or you can manipulate, not allowing you to do much. Basically, they're a hard counter. They're your kryptonite, if you would. Something else I feel needs to be discussed is the fact that anyone with vibrational manipulation, you think it's like characters like Shocker, I'm not sure who else. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Just let me know. Anybody with vibrational manipulation have the ability to basically match you. And what I mean is, like, they can basically stand up to you. Even though energy is so powerful and so potent throughout the universe, for some reason, maybe I'll do a vibrational video and learn more. But vibrational manipulation allows them to kind of counter you. So they can actually match you blow for blow, which, like I said, I don't know how, but seems reasonable. Just seems reasonable. Last thing I want to discuss when it comes to limitation is that there are limits to the amount of energy you could possibly absorb or manipulate. Now, if you think of a character, like let's say you wake up with this power tomorrow. If you were in a blast zone of a nuke, your body could only absorb so much of that because this vessel probably can't take the full force of a nuke, but it could absorb quite a bit. If you take it, like I said, if you watch First Class, it describes it best. Sebastian Shaw wasn't exactly like taking nukes to the face. He was slowly absorbing that nuclear energy to make himself stronger. When it comes to this limitation, I really think moderation is the best. You don't want to take on too much energy or just overdo it. One of my favorite scenes from the new Superman trailer is him absorbing the solar radiation to like basically heal himself, but still he was experiencing pain. That's so much solar energy at once. You could think that's what's going to happen to you, essentially. Okay, so moving on, we're going to be talking about the rankings for this power. In my videos, I usually break it down into 5 categories, that being versatility, creativity, destructive capacity, combat potential, and daily use. I give them a score out of 10, as well as giving you a letter grade. Starting with versatility, there's no shock here. I gave it a 10 out of 10 when it comes to versatility. The fact that you have the ability to convert energy, you can gain other superpowers or use your energy in other surprising ways or just mundane ways is pretty damn versatile, if I do say so myself. I don't see it getting any lower than that. Versatility for me is going to be a perfect 10 out of 10. Moving along, we're going to go with creativity. For me, creativity gets a perfect 10 out of 10. I don't see this power getting any less, mostly because it's a power that gives you other powers. So even if you didn't think, oh, I can't do much with this, like let's say, oh, I can't lift this boulder with my physical strength and by absorbing enough energy. Okay, well, with energy, you can manipulate matter to a form to lift it with telekinesis. Hey, I don't want to drive or fly or do anything like that. You can teleport with energy. Hey, I wonder what this person's thinking. I wonder if I should go hit on this girl, or did she think I'm just a creep? Well, with energy, you can read her mind. Even though I know that's a little creepy for some of you guys out there, just being fair, if we could read minds, we probably would. But that's just me. So yeah, for me, creativity gets a perfect 10 out of 10. Next up, we got destructive capacity. And there's no shock here, but energy manipulation is obviously getting another 10 out of 10. With the ability to manipulate energy, even without the knowledge, the fact that you can cause so much like trouble and destruction, there's no reason it couldn't get any lower or couldn't go any lower than a 10. Like a 10 is exactly where energy manipulation needs to be when it comes to destructive capacity. It's just, there's nothing better than that. Sorry. All right, heading into my favorite category, which is combat potential. How could this be used in combat? Honestly, you watch Dragon Ball, you watch Naruto, you watch Bleach, you watch any of those series, energy manipulation is in all of it, a form of it. They manipulate their own energy to do like Rasengans, or they do, you know, Getsuga Tenshos, Kamehamehas, Death Beams, Bishop. Bishop is essentially just he's just a warrior. So yeah, at combat potential, I'm gonna give it a perfect score of another 10 out of 10. Pretty much, I've only seen this used in combat like situations. So yeah, it's gonna get a 10. So moving on to the last category, daily use. This is based on if I woke up tomorrow and I got this power myself. And I'll be real with you, it's gonna get a perfect 10. Even though I know there's gonna be a huge learning curve and there's gonna be a lot that I have to like practice with and like knowledge I have to gain. That doesn't turn me off at all. I feel like if it was me, I'd wake up every day and be super excited to learn more about this power, especially the fact that you essentially become a god because your imagination and vitality be damned. You can do so much with this. Me personally, it's getting another 10 out of 10. All right, that brings us to the final score, which is a 50 out of 50. We did it again, guys. We got another S-class ability. I know it took a while. I think our last one was it gravity? Or was it biokinesis? Becca will let us know. Either way, another perfect score, another S-class ability. If you feel differently, please let me know in the comment section below.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. Do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
All right, so the next category is our best and worst user. This is purely based on my opinion. If you feel differently, please don't be shy to let me know. I'm all ears. But for me, we're gonna start worstest first. And the worst user of energy manipulation, in my humble opinion, is Homeless Emperor from One Punch Man. I'm not saying that he is weak. He isn't weak. Pretty much anybody from One Punch Man is the complete opposite of weak, unless you're King or Moon Rider, but that's beside the point. But the fact that he lacks versatility and he's essentially a glass cannon really makes him the worst to me. I know there are characters who manipulate energy in different ways, like Violet Parr from The Incredibles, who uses it to basically bend light and make herself invisible or make shields. But even still, she can do so much with that. Like, really. I don't see Homeless Emperor really doing too much. I mean, like I said, essentially all he does is attack people. But once somebody got the upper hand on him physically, they just pretty much shut him down. He never used it in any other way. So yeah, worst user is Homeless Emperor. Now, for my best user, it's no shock. I've talked about this character in one of my shorts, and he is among one of my favorite characters, that being Vulcan from X-Men. Gabriel Summers is, in my humble opinion, the best energy manipulator. I know that people will talk about Captain Atom, they'll talk about Sentry, they might even talk about Bishop. But for me, nobody gets better than Gabriel Summers. Gabriel Summers' main ability is energy manipulation. He can absorb and manipulate magical energy, cosmic energy. He can do all that stuff. He's used his energy manipulation in crazy ways. He's used it to suppress as well as completely negate other superpowers. He's used it to see weaknesses in his opponents, such as Storm and Magneto. He's used his power to sustain himself, so he didn't need to eat, sleep, or drink. He's also used it to heal his body, increase his physical attributes, as well as survive in space. He's done the craziest things with this power. Now, granted, he's not a god, and it can fluctuate if he's an Omega level or beyond Omega level. But the fact that he has so much versatility with this power and just overall combat ability, I don't see anybody better than this guy. Vulcan is my #1 best user, but that's just my opinion. All right, so there it is, folks. Energy manipulation. What do you guys think? It's, to me, one of the most versatile and powerful abilities I've ever discussed on this channel. Honestly, I think, if I had to be honest, yeah, it'd probably be in top 1, top 2 superpowers that we discussed so far. Even though I love biokinesis and I love gravity manipulation, I think this power might have it beat. But that's just my opinion. If you feel differently, please let me know in the comment section below. And while you're down there, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like the video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Peace.